but I need your 1, 2, 3.
I think I'm going to back Brownie here for the win, and you know what, I think the top 3 are going to stay the same. I think Brownie's going to lead him and Yalta out, and Get-On's going to be probably fighting them, but yeah, I think there's going to be some mistakes from everyone down the field, there'll be some penalties. I think Get-On might be able to jump Yalta on penalties.
We'll find out then as the lights are on. And it's go time here in Australia. It looks like the Renaults have actually got a really good start. The McLarens are there too. There's a bit of a contact at the back that's allowed the AlphaTauri to get a little bit sideways. That's Higgsy. But it looks like Brownie will hold it down at the beginning of the race in P1.
Yep, Brownie's managed to lead out to the front there as the McLarens are coming though. Florian right on the back of his teammate, but now Get-On taking a dive. There.
Virtual safety car has been called. We've lost Yonti. Danico has also been involved in that contact, but he's not lost any wing. Virtual safety car being aft, trying to attack Yalta at the same time. Virtual safety car came out just in time. We are back racing. Look at this. Look, see, the McLaren's gone off wide. Get-On is through. He's not holding back, and he's all ready to attack on Yalta. We've also got the Williams driver, Yenab, trying to attack Florian as well to recover his race, and, well, not recover, sorry, to attack and improve his race. That move. Here comes Default looking for a move, or stated as he's trying to get around the outside here of Vanya. This is going to be very awkward through turn 3. He's got onto the grass. It's a mistake made. He's lost time. And here comes the Sapso in the Haas car. He gets around the outside. Yalta's lost another 10th here on Brownie. The gap is very close between Get-On and Yalta. Yalta goes defensive in towards turn 3. It means that Get-On's going to have to take the outside line. He might just do this. This is going to be a massive move if he can make it. He's made it. Get-On up to P2. Fantastic overtake. Florian and Yenab, they went side by side in towards turn 12. That chicane is such a nightmare, and Florian is trying his best to cling on to people.
Yeah, he's sitting duck right now, but he's not even going to be able to keep up with Yenab once he gets into the second straight. It's the goal coming in. Oh, that was close. It's close. He's managed to hold on, but there's no real benefit because it's DRS and ERS activated here. He should have that.
Rainbow?
That McLaren is a lightning in the straight.
Oh. Rainbow just tried to send it down the inside of both cars. He almost made it work, except for the fact he got in a bit of contact, and that there didn't destabilise. He's then falling back a little bit, and now Chan is looking to repay onto the sister team. He's going to have to take the outside. It's going to be awkward. There's contact already, but he's made it work. How has Chan got round Rainbow there, of all places?
Somebody's coming for Rainbow now as well, then in the braking zone. They've gone round the outside again. There's going to be more bump on the wheels. And it looks like he might get it, but like Coffee's on his way as well. This is going 3 wide.
This is insane. How are they going? Coffee's up to P8. Some idiot stuck out there on the outside line. He's actually managed to make that recovery. But look at the gap. This has brought a massive comfort zone here for Rainbow. Oh, Dennis, wow, that was a massive tank slap. He very nearly planted himself into the wall, but that's caused a massive mistake. He already made a move on Vanya earlier, and now Vanya's repaying the favour. He's trying to get round the outside of him. He's done that exactly how he needed to. There is no one the likes of Danico, who's looking for a move. Can he find the inside line? He's going to send it into turn 3. It's going to be wide. He's kept himself just about enough room between Dennis and the edge of the circuit. Well, Felix is there, sorry, on ERS. Get-On is loving life right now. He just manages his pace, he just manages the ERS, he manages his actual DRS as well, and he's going to take the outside line through here. This guy is insane. Surely he can't pull this off. He's going to try anyway. And I think he's done it. He's still alongside of him, wheel to wheel the whole time. Felix is coming right back on him on the inside again, I think. Maybe, but the penalty for Get-On will cause more problems for him than he necessarily wanted to until the end of the race, and I don't think he can do much more than just pray that he can pressure Felix into doing what he's just done, which is make a mistake. He had to back out of that one. He couldn't actually go for a send it there. He's going to have to take the outside again into turn 3. He's not going to do it this time unless Felix runs deep, which he doesn't, and they stay as is for now. Damage. They just have the definite code brown as Yalta's managed to capitalise on that as well. It's going around the outside. There's contact again. That's Yalta just gone into the back there of the Williams. And again, Rainbow's back through. We also have Poppy, who's just snuck his way through on both the drivers. He's found himself in P11, ready to attack on P10. And if he can avoid doing what happened...
And there we go. That's the penalties now equalised as well. So that's worked out in Get-On's favour also. But if you look at the you know, and Get On's now going for a move there with plenty of ERS to play with, and getting pushed out wide again. It's difficult to get a move done in this sector, and
Get On is putting down on him. The Papaya car is definitely trying to put as much pressure on him. He's actually going to go for a move here into turn one. He's going to cruise past him. That thing is a missile. Things are being applied to his race, but he wants to do this. He wants to take the outside into turn three. Again, we've seen the maneuvers here work in the past, but Vanny is just that bit better. Dennis runs himself out of road, and Vanny will hold on to P2. But now, Sapso, who has been sat on the back of this battle for a while, is on the hard tires. He's trying to find a little bit of a mistake here from Dennis, of which there's been a few. Can he make the maneuver work? Vanny's got penalty. This will help Dennis, but it won't affect Sapso, because Sapso, it was actually lost out to Get On. He's letting these guys through. Felix might just lose out here.
But this hasn't happened. He's managed to make one move done, and it looks like he's going to make another move on Dennis here. He's absolutely flying right now, and he's getting pushed up to the wall. A very late break in there to make the move done. That was an incredible move there from Get On.
The only way this works out for Felix is if Vanny could hold Get On back, but Get On is not wasting any time. He's already through. He's into physical P2, and the penalty difference that wasn't helping Felix.
Painful afternoon for him, and Stewards have made it a little bit more painful.
Okay. Does get past Vanny there, sorry. I didn't pick it up. He has got into P3, but the gap is just too big now. Oh no, Vanny!
He's in the wall.
Is he out, or is he still? He's still going. He's
like
still going.
Like it bounced off the wall.
I mean,
it's who doses the contact?
It's heartbreaking. And look at this. We've got somebody and Yolta trying to get past him as well. Yolta's made it through just about. There's going to be very scary moments there between. Oh no, we've lost Danico. I saw it coming, but I didn't catch it on the screen. Danico, he just tried to go around the outside of Vanny. I guess he didn't know he rode that inside curve on the left-hand side. He's coming now for Rainbow. This is going to be a pretty simple overtake, although Rainbow might try and still stick it out. It'd be pointless as he's on the harder side, and he's only going to cause him to have more time lost, especially with the fact that Yolta. Surely this is a move. It's going to have to be an outside move because Default's holding the inside nice and firm. Sapso backs out, looking for the inside cutback. Yeah, he's actually going to go again around the outside. This time he's going to stick it. He's trying to hold on all the way through. He has done that. Sapso up to P12, effectively up to P11. It's just
and
they're equal penalties, right?
They're on equal penalties, 6 seconds each.
I'm also watching this feisty battle between Default and Sapso. They've been going at it for ages. Default did get the move done previously, but now Sapso's got such a better run this time. Default's going to try and string him out there, try and leave him out to dry. Sapso's been a bit tighter on the corner, caused a little bit of contact there between him and States. Trying to, if this is going to be a send, surely not. He's not going to go for it here, is he? This is going to be too suicidal. He just about caused a mistake, and that was always going to happen. Stated.
I managed to do the work on track.
Yeah, that glory is effectively what it is. And that's the thing, even if you do get penalties, you never know if somebody's maybe been unfairly penalised, because they kind of peel it. Even the stewards ones that are put in the actual stream, you can see them yourselves. They are still appealable, so it doesn't necessarily mean that they're absolutely concrete, and they can easily. Just don't have enough laps left in this race for Yenab to pull us back. He may be 410. Oh, the chance actually breaking it in. This could be possible as Geton is coming through this second to last corner. He has done such a fantastic job of doing this race today. He brought himself up into from P3 up to race win. He gets the 25 points. It's going to be Brownie taking P2 initially. He may still hold it. I think he can, and Florian will cross P3. Chan is in P4, but Yenab's lost time. He's lost so much time, in fact, that he could have actually got the P3. He's not going to get it now. He'll get P4 though, locked in. Coffee will jump up to P5 because of the penalties that Chan and Huni have got. Huni P7, Rainbow P8 before the penalties applied. Same for Yolta. It's Saturday. Oh, and it's Bahrain. I'm so glad we're here. This one is so good. I'm Ben Raggy McConnell, and joining me for the Rwagnation League Grand Prix here in Bahrain is the man himself, Mr. Horn Badger. How you doing?
I'm doing really well, thanks. How's things?
I don't know if you could tell, but I'm a little bit excited. I love this circuit. I don't like driving on it, but I love commentating on it every single time we come here. It is just fantastic. Oh, last week was an absolute blinder, but we're going to be seeing even more exciting stuff on this circuit because we've just seen the F2s, and it's, well, look at it. 3 DRS zones in total. Oh, and there's just so many overtaking opportunities at the end of a heavy braking zone. So we'll keep an eye out for that coming into the actual Grand Prix. But this is how the driver standings look as it stands. So Get Owned, obviously, with his massive win last week, he got 25 points in his pocket for McLaren. Felix is there in P2, and then Yenab in P3. The rest of the field, obviously, have got their usual points. It was Florian who did score a P3 last week, but obviously reserves can't score individual driver points, so it's going to be difficult for them to do so. However, we are here with Yonti's hot lap, as is usually the case. So hard brake is only towards turn 1. You got to make sure you get yourself right down the gears. Gear 2 to help with the rotation, and Gear 3 to make sure you don't lose the back end. Short shifting your way through the corner so you can keep control of your car, with another DRS section coming up into turn 4. We've seen this many a time where there's been plenty of attacking opportunities coming into this. We saw Sebastian Vettel and Lewis Hamilton battle once and end up with Seb spinning completely right round. Into turn 5 and 6. A little bit of a quick chicane here, and then into 7 very shortly afterwards, and then turn 8. This is a very awkward corner. You want to slow down a lot, and you don't want to get on power too early because the car is finding it very difficult to gain traction through this section. Into the very awkward 9 and 10. This is where you need to make sure you don't lock up like Yonti just did there, because you need the exit of dreams here onto the mid straight. This one is usually the DRS zone where people hold on to the back of someone else because they got this very awkward snaky section here. It's a long left-hander with a long right-hander following it, and this is where you're going to see people who, when the tires drop off, they're going to lose control. Coming into the final proper right-hander, because the final corner is kind of a bit of a mind game, to be honest. You want to be watching out for the DRS detection zone, which is right there, and you want to make sure that you are the car behind as you come into this final corner, because it is a very long run up towards turn 1. Tons of DRS, tons of tow, and you know, this is the best place to go when you want to do a perfect overtake. So let's get straight into the Grand Prix here today then, Mr. Badger. And would it be a Rwagnation League Grand Prix commentary alongside me if I didn't chuck you under the bus and ask you for your top 3 prediction at the end of this Grand Prix?
To be honest, Get Owned really impressed me last week, so I think I'm going to say Hypers or Atomic as P1 and Get Owned sitting there in P2, and in fact I'll say Top Tom P2 and Get Owned P3.
I mean, that's a call. What you're making there is a call. You know that, don't you? That for Top Tom to be P3 and not P2 or P1 is quite big. I mean, there's 2 big names here that we're looking at in particular. Obviously, Tomic. He's the previous Drivers' Championship winner. He smashed it, let's be honest. He absolutely nailed it. It was a very difficult first half of the season. He started to recover coming into the second half a little bit more. And then, you know, it was a very nice ending for him, especially the fact that his teammate, who's his teammate again in this season, was able to pull enough points together on his side of the bargain that they were able to also secure the Constructors' Championship. Now, they're going to be looking to do the exact same thing again here in this season, but there's a very different ball game. We've seen Felix, or Shazoo Luneberger, as you can see there in P15 currently. He did a very good job of really taking it to Get Owned last race and actually securing himself a nice solid P2. He's going to need to do that again today to help bring Renault forwards. Yolta is kind of holding him back a little bit when it comes to the Renault push. He's got a lot of recovery here that he has to perform in order to try and help Renault keep themselves ahead of the game. Yenab, currently the only driver who's got medium tyres on his car. Don't suspect that he's going to be taking these into the actual Grand Prix itself. I reckon we're going to see a 2-stop strategy, except for those in the Williams cars, purely because they have this crazy strategy where they almost always go softs to mediums by stretching the softs out very far and then going over to the mediums and just maintaining consistent pace, which is fantastic, but it doesn't always work out.
Yep, and obviously Yenab is still actually yet to leave the pit, so we'll see if it even comes out on those tyres. It might not. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting race. But yeah, from what we've seen last week, Get Owned really impressed me. Brownie as well. Felix. He done a great race, but yeah, get on that the setup that he had. I don't know what it was, but that car was absolutely lightning in the straights, and he was managing to brake far later than everyone else around him, and he was really hooking it up together lap after lap after lap. So yeah, I think he's going to be right there in the top, fighting for podiums. I don't think the win's within his reach realistically. I think that's going to be down to Tomic and Top Tom, but you know, this is racing, anything can happen.
Well, this is it. It only takes one incident and you're out of this race completely. Just before the time starts to come in, I do agree. I think Tomic is going to be pole, but I think Top Tom is going to be second. And I actually don't think Get Owned is going to be even P3 today. This doesn't strike me as a circuit that he's particularly comfortable in. I think we're going to be seeing our good friend Mr. Luneberger. I think he's going to be our P3 man today.
Yeah, I think the problem is that Felix is usually much better in the race trim than he is in qualifying, and obviously quite surprised us last week with his position, but Get Owned straight out the bat,
yeah,
up there, P1. That's a really great first banker lap.
It is, but there are still quite a fair few people that have not yet put their times in. You know, I'm looking at Chan and Luneberger and Top Tom to get their times in, although Chan's crossed it, and he's actually not quite done as fast as I originally expected him to. Felix, though, this guy, who did actually qualify quite nicely. If you remember, it was a Renault 1-2 at the qualifying of the first race, which was fantastic, but it all fell apart for Yolta. He just couldn't keep himself penalty free. He also couldn't keep himself out of trouble as well. Lots of mistakes from him. Really want to see commitment and focus from him. But here comes Felix, and he hasn't quite put himself on pole, but he's only just about a tenth and a bit off. So still very good from him, but a bit more needed.
Round 1 to Badger.
Yeah, okay. Well, I mean, there's still people to go, okay? We've still got more than half the grid have not yet put times on, one of which is this man here, Top Tom, who will cross the line, and he still hasn't beaten Get Owned. Come on, someone has to beat him, because I look like a fool right now.
Yes, Get Owned living up to my expectations there. That's an absolutely stellar lap time, as I said. Top Tom, we know he's a fantastic driver, and he's sitting there a tenth behind.
Tomic not out of the pits here, though. This is odd. And I did actually see that he might not actually be looking too good today, because he's not really got any practice in now. Granted, he's still a very quick driver in general anyway. He's still got a lot of natural talent and skill that he can call upon that will help him carry him forward. But I don't know if that's going to be enough for him today. If he makes mistakes on a track like this, where penalties are actually pretty easy to get, you know, you could make a mistake through turn 1, 2, 3, and that causes you a penalty or two. You know, you've also got the hard corners of 9 and 10, where if you just cut it a little bit too much, you're going to lose on the inside and then get that penalty. And then you've got the awkward 11, 12, where the snaky corners. When the tyres drop, they are terrifying. I have binned many a race there in my short time of league racing. Yolta coming up to start his hot lap. I'm going to stay on board with him because I want to see how well he actually has improved, if he's improved at all.
Yeah, it's as you say, there's going to be a lot of potential issues, but I believe Tomic won Bahrain last year, didn't he? Last season.
I don't know, you know. I can't remember. I think he might have.
I need to get that checked. I think he won it, so I feel that you know, you don't forget how to do that. So I think he should be able to be okay and still be up fighting at the top.
Yeah. Tomic on his outlap now then. Also to note, this is a circuit where the toe is quite strong, especially down the home straight. You know, you may want to use that to try to help set a lap up. You're not really going to be able to use it to finish a lap because there's not that much of a run in towards the straight the start-finish line. You may also want to use it in the middle of the circuit on that middle DRS straight. You won't gain as much as you can on the home straight, but it's still worthwhile nonetheless. As Yolta is actually looking very clean through here. This is actually quite a tidy hot lap, although he has been known to be quite good in the qualifying, but the race is where he starts to crumble. He's actually the opposite of me. I am awful in the qualifying, but I'm decent in the race. And granted, he's faster than me in general, but we'll see now as he comes around the final corner. DRS wing wide open. Across the line, where's he going to be? He goes P2. That is good. He is really starting to show his skill. If he can continue to do this into the race, maintain this level of consistency, he's going to put in today. I'm calling it now.
I mean, that would be great to see. As we say, the Yalta's race can sometimes fall apart. Last week, he qualified second and ended up finishing way down the field. You know, he had a bit of a horrendous race. So it'd be good to see him managing to maintain the podium. But there's Zones putting in a 24/7. What a fantastic time there from Zones.
Yeah, really good. Really well done by him. I don't feel like that's going to be the best time that we're going to see today, though. I mean, the real indicator is going to be when this man here, Tomek, when he does eventually come across the line, that's going to be the clear indicator as to what sort of time we're looking at, and maybe just take a couple of tenths off to add to that and go from there. But I still think we haven't yet seen the best of quite a few of these drivers here. Top Tom, he didn't actually get to drive for quite a while because his pedals are broken. So he's not quite back to his full potential, and he's still got a lot more to learn even since that point anyway. But yeah, I mean, give him time. Give him time. When we get to the likes of Baku, I expect him to be up there challenging for podiums. You know, it's not even over yet. Maybe I'm talking like he's already done and dusted. You know, he's already out of this Grand Prix. Oh, Tomek! Oh my word! I thought that was it. He gets a little bit extra, and yeah, that tank slapper nearly cost him.
Yep. So he was about half a tenth up on Zones before that tank slapper. So clearly he's decided that's not good enough. He needs to come back in.
Yeah, and I don't blame him. He is a driver who settles for perfection. He's not one to sort of shy away if that even slightly goes wrong. So no surprise that he's coming into the pits along with his teammate. Brownie? Felix is retired. He's crashed.
Yep, it's just in sector 2 there.
On the yeah, wow, that is a big crash.
Into the wall, yeah. Lost a wheel by the looks of things. That's awkward for him.
Yeah, very awkward. That is not good at all. So Felix, who's currently P6 with a 25.1, if we're looking at zones and his current time, that is A, not going to be enough, and B, tragic news for Felix because he's going to have to do kind of what he always does effectively, which is get on the alternate strategy and recover effectively.
Yep, as we say, he's a really good racer, so it'll be good to see him kind of fight back through the field and try and make up those positions. But I'll just mark that down on my list of the times that Get Owned out-qualified Felix, and that means I out-qualify you. Yes.
Well, yes. The other thing to note, though, is that if we're basing on statistics alone, in this season, every time Get Owned has been out-qualified by Felix, he's won. This is the inverse. Get Owned is out-qualifying him, and he's not going to win now.
Well, we'll see. If he wins in the race, then we can just say that every time that Felix and Get Owned are on the same track, Get Owned wins.
Yeah, okay, we could do that. Ooh, I think Brooke just gave Dennis a bit of a tow coming in towards the final corner, which is actually quite a good place to do it because that whole straight is massive, but it wasn't enough. Despite the tow, despite the effort, Dennis still does a 1:26.043, which in terms of pole is 1.3 seconds away. That's bad. That's very concerning for Dennis, and I feel like he really tried his best there.
Yep, and now Dennis is returning favour though with a little bit of a tow, so we'll see what Brook / default / stated or whatever he wants to change his name to next week ends up doing. Obviously this is his first flying lap, so hopefully he can actually set in a decent time. Only 4.5 minutes remaining left of the session.
Yeah, we are nearing that point. This qualifying has flown by. I honestly, I don't even know where the time went. I thought, we've still got about 8 minutes to go. Look at the clock. Yeah, 4.5 minutes to go. The drivers are running out of time. They're running out of options, and they're going to need to get a move on. I do want to ask you, though, chat, what is your top 3 prediction? Who's getting pole today? Is it going to be Zones? Is he going to hold on? I mean, he is 3/10 clear of Get Owned as it stands. So in terms of opportunity, that is probably the biggest one he's going to get. However, he's not going to settle for it, and he isn't settling for it. He's trying to improve as it stands straight off the bat. This is a very different Zones to the one we saw last season.
Yeah, to be honest, that time took me by surprise. I think it took pretty much everyone here by surprise. Obviously, we've still not seen Top Tom and Tomek do exactly what they can do, and default there, comes across the line, only manages to go P16. So that's not that great a lap from him either.
The thing that doesn't make sense is I can do 25s, and Default and Dennis, I would say, are faster than me. So something's not right. Something's not right at all. And I was going to say, maybe we're expecting rain, but then I remembered what circuit we're on. That never, ever happens. Yota has improved. He's got himself ahead of Getto, albeit barely, and he's still 2 and a bit tenths away from zones.
Yeah, that's... It's just kind of putting into perspective just how good a lap that was by zones.
So looking at the chat, we've got Brooke for Paul, Dennis for P1. Ambitious?
Do you want to just watch Get Owned here? I think he's on for a good lap here. And he does move himself up to P2 and only half a tenth behind zones, but that was a really good lap. He was purple sector 1 and he had a pretty good sector 2. He was a little bit shy of zones there, but that was a really good lap there from him. And as I say, he's really, you know, definitely punching above his weight, shall we say. Great driving from him.
There is something here that we need to pay close attention to. Look at the tyres that one Tomek Parajish has on his car. I definitely didn't pronounce his name right, but still, the strategy is at afoot here. Look at him. Medium tyres, the only driver to try and do this. He has the pace to get himself into the top 10 still on the medium tyres, but it's going to need to be quick, and only one mistake could cost you the difference between being in the top 10 or not, because if you look where Yonti and Huni are, they're separated by 100th of a second. Vania, who's only just behind them, is only a couple of tenths behind them, and the same for Higgsy. But then even if you look ahead of him, there's only 400ths of a second separating Rainbow and Yonti, and then similar for Copy and Rainbow, there's only 200ths between them. It's so close between majority of the grid. I mean, if you look at P4 down to P7, do I need to say any more? It's so tight across the grid. I am looking forward to seeing where he puts himself overall. But Get Earned will not be able to improve again unless he goes again, which he hasn't got enough fuel for, so he won't be improving. P2 is the best he's going to achieve, and this is looking good for zones, even with the fact that he has invalidated and ran out of fuel.
Yeah, I want to see what Tomek can do here. I mean, we know he's definitely fast enough to get this into the top 10, so it's just really to see how fast he can go on these tyres. Here he goes, starting his lap.
Yeah. There is no calm before the storm today because everyone just seemed to try and get as much free air as they possibly could. Dirty air on this circuit is not fun, especially, and I keep saying it, coming towards the end of the second sector, that snaky section is an absolute nightmare in the dirty air, and I think Rainbow's just getting himself out of the way. He knows the penalties that come with it if you seem to be blocking anybody, and fair play to him, he's keeping himself very cleanly out of that situation.
Tomek's invalidated.
He doesn't even have enough time to go again, does he?
Nope. He cannot make it.
He might. Does he? No, he might. He might.
Unless our times are wrong. We say he's only got 30 seconds left, so he cannot make it. However, if our time's wrong, he might be able to get a time in. We shall see. It doesn't look like he's particularly, pushing. He's turned his ERS off and everything, so if he is attempting to get again, obviously he'll know the accurate time in his car. He is getting out of the way though for a few drivers, so let's see if he's able to push to the line. But that's completely thrown a spanner in the works if Tomek's not starting in the front row.
Yep, it really has.
And Zones improves.
And
Zones
Chan,
is a little bit of a tenth faster.
And Chan's also in P5 low. He's actually really improved his pace. We've got his teammate coming up as well. That is Higgsy. He's going to cross the line and compete 12. Tomek, is he going to be able to start this qualifying run? It looks like the answer is yes. So the game has given him that chance, despite the fact he's not really meant to.
Yeah, to our screens anyway. Obviously for him it's probably said something different. Let's see. Hopefully he'll be praying that he doesn't invalidate again. Obviously the tyres don't really matter if doing this extra one lap. It's not going to make much of a difference seeing as he is on the medium tyre. So let's just see what he's able to do.
Danico as well, he's out there. He needs to get a time on the board along with Tomek. This is But tense moments now for them because they know they can't invalidate. They cannot make a mistake. Has Tomek kept himself clean this time around? Yes, he has so far. He did invalidate by this time last lap. So whatever a mistake he made last lap, he has not recreated it, but he has locked up coming into turn 10. That is not a good sign, but I don't think he really lost that much time. He's kept the composure of the car coming out the exit. So still looking hot and heavy. Let's see now. As Zones has retired, he knows he can improve. A 124.602 is the best time we have on the board right now. It's a good 10th and a half clear of Get Owned, who is out there going again. Tomek, do you have the goods to get yourself up into the top 10 on the mediums? This is the man we're watching. We're going to keep an eye out for everyone else too. But this is the one who has the alternate strategy, and this is crucial. He has to get into the top 10 on the mediums in order to secure the optimal strategy. He doesn't do it. He's P15. It's not enough.
Yeah, it looked like he was taking things a little bit carefully just so he doesn't invalid, and that's cost him.
Yenab now coming up to the line. Is he going to get himself up into the top 10? No, it's P14 for him. He needs to do better than that. Yolta has invalidated, so he cannot improve. Copy then, who's currently sitting on that limit there for the top 10. He is in a bit of a pickle. He either wants to massively improve or fall back, and he doesn't do either. He does improve his time, but it isn't enough for him to jump any places. So P10 is where he sits, and that's in the place you don't want to be. As Brook comes to the line, he stays P19. Get owned! He's done it! He's got himself on pole. It's a 124.551. Has Tomek and Get Owned swapped places? What is this?
I think I'll accept written apology or cash.
Written apology will be sent to you in the form of a postcard, along with my tears in a vial, and
very tasty.
You are the prophet. I'll give you that title.
Yeah, that's a stellar lap time there from Get Owned. As I said, you know, at the end of last season, he was really improving, like just really putting in the work and really bringing up the team. You know, obviously Tomek was the star, he was the drivers' champion, but the team together really started to gel and really started to become a force to be reckoned with. And Get Owned's just proving that that was not luck. You know, he is in there, he is doing what he needs to do and showing that he deserves to be where he is. Absolutely fantastic.
Now, I've commented Get Owned for quite a while, and yeah, he has massively improved. And so much, in fact, he's got himself pole position here today. 24.551 is the time that he chucked on the board today, with Zones very close behind with a 51 thousandths gap. Top Tom P3 with Yolta in P4, Chan in P5 with somebody at P6, Danico P7, Rainbow P8 with Felix Luneberger, who'd retired, bear in mind. Gets himself into P9. Copy rounding out the top 10 with Huni there in P11. Yontiga in P12, and then we start to see the 1 second margin being broken with Higgsy in P13. Yenab right on the back of him there in P14 with Vania just a bit further out as well in P15. Tomek, who tried to do the big brain move on the mediums, but it backfired and leaves him in P16. Dennis P17, Safso P18, and in last place, somebody who I didn't expect to be as low as he is. He's very much the time trial merchant in my eyes. He's down in P19. That is stated, or Brook, or default, however you know him. He's currently still last.
Yeah, it's quite a surprise. But what that does mean is we've got a couple of fast boys at the back who were looking to really make their way through the field and try and make some moves and make this an exciting race.
I actually really want to go on board with Tomek off the start because he gets rapid starts. He is a very, very quick driver. I wouldn't say he's the fastest starter I've ever seen. There is one other person who springs to mind. Yeah.
Mr. Nicholas Longue.
Yeah, that guy is just nuts off the start. I don't know how he does it, but you know, it's Tomek still. He's very, very, very quick off the start. In fact, he's actually taught me how to do starts in this game, and yeah, he's got a little trick up his sleeve which works out massively. So I want to see if he can replicate it here today. Obviously, we are going to be seeing the formation lap first, so the drivers are going to need to get their temperatures to the right level before we start this Grand Prix. Otherwise, there's going to be lots of spinneroonies.
Yep, it's there is an art to it. The formation lap and the start. That's very delicate. So, yep. Well, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised to see Tomek into the top 10 like by the end of the first lap, because just how good he is at the starts.
Yeah, and there's a long run to turn one, and the track is super wide. You know, there is an opportunity. We've seen it even in real life. 3, maybe even 4 cars width coming into turn one. But the hard part is, and he knows this, getting these hard compound tires to the right temperature in time for the start of this race, sorry, as we've already had. Is that Yolta? Oh, he's had a mistake. He's actually been reset to the grid, and the disaster for Yolta is starting already. When his tires are cold, he struggles. When his tires are hot, he struggles. He just needs everything to be in the perfect scenario for him to have a great race. And if the planets weren't aligned, then you can see that now he's struggling.
Yep, and I'll just remind everyone that yes, he's been disqualified, but that only is disqualified from the formation lap. So he's reset to the grid, and he will still be able to take the start and continue his race. So he's not been kicked out. He just has to sit and wait for everyone to get round this formation lap. But what it does mean is that for the start, his tyres are going to be stone cold, and so he will most likely drop, 4 positions or so, while everyone else has nice warm tyres and they can get away cleanly. So it's going to be difficult for him, and it's an uphill battle now.
Yeah, as one, the steward's been in touch to tell us there is a 0% chance of rain in this session, just in case you're wondering. But as one comedian once said, he's not out, he's just popped out. So we shall see now. As we come into it, I do want to hear your top 3 prediction. What is the podium going to look like today, chat? Let me know in the chat. I'll read out some of them as we get further into this race. If I'm calling it here, I think this is still Get On to win. I've doubted him, but I shouldn't.
Yep, I'm going to say Get Owned, Top Tom, then Tomic.
Tomic's going to need a hell of a drive to pull us back. I'm going to go Get Owned, I'm going to go Top Tom, and I'm going to go Some Idiot.
Oh,
right then.
Good call.
The lights are on then. We can see the whole grid ready to get going in Bahrain. Very delayed, but...
Kingsley's left.
Yeah, and he's reversing on the grid. And now he's away. There, the AI has decided it's time to go. Everyone else is going to be sat still. There we go. We finally get started. Iggsy has rejoined. And that is going to be a nice clean start from Ghetto. And we've got the Williams there trying to slip down the inside of everybody. This is huge for him. How is he going to be able to make this work though throughout? He's going alongside an AlphaTauri. That is Chan. He's actually kept it clean enough. And there's a 3-way battle going between Yolta and the Racing Points. He does lose out in the end. And Tomic hasn't really gained.
I want to throw out that I'm a prophet once more. Yolta even had lost 4 positions at the first turn, as I said he would. I'm just going to get my lottery tickets on. Yeah. I mean, you did say Tomic was going to jump to the top 10 by the time we got to turn 1, so it's not entirely. No, I said the end of the end of lap 1, so I've still got time.
Yeah, well, he's gone P15. We'll see later on. But here comes Felix. He's gone past Yonti. Nice, clean around the outside overtake through turn 8. Hard braking zone now into turn 9 and 10. He's got the exit that he needed. His teammate is ahead of him, so they could actually work together here. Bear in mind, all of these teams have a race engineer and are obviously in communication with their teammates, so that is crucial for them. They do need to make sure that they work together to try and benefit the most, because obviously there is a prize for the Constructors' Championship, which, it was McLaren who got it last season. It's going to need to be more than that later. Is that Safso? It is. He's had a mistake. He's rotated the car, and that is not good. Lap 1 here in Bahrain. He needs to do more than that to get some points.
It's unfortunate for him. He had a tough race last time as well, and then had a different strategy that kind of pulled him through.
Zone's going for race lead here on Get On. It's going to be a drag race up towards turn 1. There's no DRS just yet. That is next lap, but it looks like Zones has done the maneuver to get himself race lead. Get On will be P2, and we've had a 14.610 lap time here from Higgsy.
It's a great lap time there for the second lap, so for the end of the first lap, but yeah, that's he just needs to keep going.
Tomic, he went defensive on Yenab there and he almost sent him off to the Shadow Realm. That was so close between them, but then Tomic and Yenab both get the move done on Vanier, who is struggling here right now. Tomic on these hard tires, he's feeling like he's driving mediums, it seems like, in comparison to the others, but Vanier, he is not liking these medium tires. This is getting scary.
Yeah, and it's Yolta there still just trying to hang on to the back of the racing points in front of him and try and recover some of his race. It's not going too well. He's not really making any impression on them, and he's got his teammate right behind him.
Yeah, Tomek is actually slowly making his way further forward in this Grand Prix. He's not quite in the top 10 like you predicted. That was a hell of a ambitious call there. I mean, you've had some big calls today, and you've got quite a lot of them right, but that one is just a bit too big, I feel like. Maybe we take that title of prophet away from you, but we'll see. We'll see. We are coming on to the third lap, which means we won't see the DRS on the home straight, but we will see the DRS coming out of turn 3 into turn 4, and again in the middle of the circuit where Safso is right now. He has had a nightmare of a start to this Grand Prix. He's going to need a safety car realistically to bring him back into this.
Yeah, safety car would actually really spice things up quite a lot. You know, you've got the people out there who are on the hard, so they're obviously not going to be coming back in. So the softer runners, they might think, oh, I can chance this and come in for the pits, get basically a free pit stop, really spice up the strategy a little bit.
There's a bit of a gap forming now in the middle of the field. That is Rainbow and Yonti. They've separated themselves by about 2 seconds now, which it looks larger on that mini-map in the bottom right-hand corner. And I guess in F1 world, that is already quite large. Lap 3, 2-second gap. That is quite big.
Yeah, that's the type of gap that you need to start building when you're out, you know, wanting to break that DRS gap. So if you've managed to do that, then that's kind of what you're aiming for this lap, for lap 3. You know, you want to be out of that 1 second margin so that the people behind you don't get that extra speed boost up on you and can make moves.
Obviously, the difference maker is that the top 10 are on the soft compound tyres, so yes, naturally they are going to be much faster. I think it's 1.5 seconds per lap in terms of quali time, the difference maker between the softs and the hards, but still, it's not the be-all and end-all. Yonti is playing the long game along with everyone else behind him. They are looking to try and bring it back for them later. And it's also no surprise that Yenab, who's obviously the Williams driver, he's on the medium compound tyre. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw him go mediums to softs as Dennis and Yonti. And Dennis has gone for a send it on Yonti into turn 1. He's managed to make that maneuver work. He's up now into P11. But Yonti has DRS. Yonti has ERS. Yonti has priority here, but he has the outside line. It's going to be difficult to make it. He's just got his full car ahead of him. And I think Dennis might be able to recover this. And to think that Yonti's on the hard compound tyre, the grip is so much better for Dennis. And Yonti holds him back.
Yeah, and Dennis has already had a really good opening lap, or opening few laps. He's up 5 places. You know, he's hassling Yonti here. And if he can get past him, he could maybe try and start bringing down that gap there. Let's go in the top 10.
Looking at the front of the grid, Zones is actually doing a very good job here of pushing away from Get Earned. That gap keeps getting nearer and nearer that 1 second margin. I have got message from the stewards. The incident between Tomek and Yanab on lap 2 is under investigation. So there is a possibility a penalty may be applied. Now, I didn't see what happened between them, so I'm not sure. Oh, I did actually. Yes, I did. That was the scary moment where Tomek, what it looked like, he went for a defensive move and almost killed Yenab. But I didn't see a very good angle of it. So I don't actually know who to blame there, if anybody is to blame. But that's what the stewards are there for. They will let us know via the message at the top of your screen. So pay attention to that, ladies and gents. That is going to be the difference makers. Here comes Tomek now onto this little train that's going on between Dennis and Yonti. Tomek is at the back of it. There is a Huni that's still in the DRS as well, but it's not going to be close enough for him as Tomek goes deep into turn 1. This is going to be hard. Breaker zone contact into Dennis, which has also caused Yonti to get rotated, and he has fallen down to P15 as a result. Ah, man, it was a very ambitious move there from Tomek, and he's actually currently working on Dennis still. He's getting himself up into P11, but Dennis is trying to stick it around the outside. Tomek is surely going to get this done now because the exit is much better and more favoured to him, but he's still hanging him out there. Yes, finally Tomek has got P11 locked in. Dennis, he tried his best. He tried the same on Yonti. It ended up backfiring on him then, and it still backfires on him now.
Yeah, this is something as well that from last season that we know a lot from Tomek, is when he's in the pack, he will go very, very aggressive. And sometimes it goes a little bit too far. There, it always looked like it was going to be a cluster just from, you know, there was several drivers around. But in the end, he's got the move done, and we'll leave anything else up to the stewards.
Yeah, well, this is it. You know, I think sometimes it's a battle of an ego, but you know, when it comes to those situations, you see an opportunity, it presents itself, and like what one Ayrton Senna said, if you don't go for a gap, then are we still racing? Huni and Vanya is actually having a little bit of a scrap of their own here, as Huni is trying to defend himself from a very quick Vanya who's on the better tyres. He's got the DRS, he's got the toe, and he's actually gone for a move. That was a very touch and go moment between the two of them. Huni might go for a centre here into turn 1, but it's going to be contact between them. Vanya gets sent out wide. That's also a mistake there made from Yonti as well. Not Yonti, sorry, that is Yenab, who's trying to bring himself back into this. Huni again getting caught up in the side of that Williams, and that is a big tank slapper for him. He's recovered, but he's lost out, and that is not looking good now for the Ferrari driver.
Dennis has managed to get past Tomek again on the start-finish straight. What a fantastic moment for him. But can I just point out, look, at the top 3, the gap from Top Tom to Get Owned is 2.6 seconds. And he's like, we know how fast Top Tom is, and it's just, again, cementing the fact that how vastly improved Get Owned's been over the last kind of season. And he's now hassling onto the back of zones again. He's burned a little bit of his ERS to kind of try and bring that gap down again, but I mean, he's roughly the same as what Zones is on, so this is actually working out kind of in his favour.
I've got one question for you. How many posters of Get On do you have on your wall?
I've ordered 7 more, but there's still 12 up on the wall.
Okay, well, Tomek is battling with Dennis once more. This time he's done what I said to do earlier in the F2s, which is wait, bidey time, wait for that final corner, and now get the exit out of the corner that you need. He's got the ERS to work with, he's got the pace, he's got the rocket strapped to the back of that car, and he's gone down the inside of Dennis, and there's nothing Dennis can do about it. Yes, he did recover earlier, he does have the grippier tyres, which is helping him just a touch here in this Grand Prix, but Tomek still gets past. Is Dennis, I mean, this is a trick question because yes, of course he's going to try it. Is he going for a move here on Tomek into turn 4? Not quite got the pace he needed, not quite got the gap he needed, but you know, nearly, that was very nearly massive contact between them. Oh man, my heart stopped for a second. I can only imagine what Tomek and Dennis were feeling right there.
Yeah, that was a close one, and during all that, Yenab managed to get round the outside of Yonti in turn 1 as well, so that was a great move from him. And he's now pushed himself up back to P14.
So good stuff from Yenab to start the recovery. Obviously, he did have an issue through turn 1, the back end stepping out a bit too much, and that didn't help him out very much at all. There is a black and white flag for Tomek Parajish. So P11, he's been given a black and white flag. That is a warning to say, calm it down, because what you're doing is going to cause a major incident, maybe even cause a DNF. So Tomek, whilst he is a very fast driver, needs to rein it in a little bit. So Yolta, with his teammate right there behind him in the DRS, is trying to attack the racing point and copy. Yolta's in. So is Chan, and so is Top Tom.
Yep, so that's the first pit stops here. We'll see how that goes on. Hard tyres there for Top Tom, hard tyres for Yolta, and I think hard tyres for Chan as well.
So the
hard to the end.
The stewards have been in touch again. The incident between Tomek, Dennis, and Yonti, who we saw into turn 1, is under investigation. So 3. I mean, it's concerning. Obviously, Tomek hasn't really had a lot of practice coming into this Grand Prix, and I feel like it's kind of showing, to be truthfully honest. It's not about his pace that's necessarily the problem, because he is on the hard tyres and he's cruising back up the field. It's his drive, the way he's taking it to the circuit. It really seems to be that he's rusty, shall we say.
Yeah, the naughty boy flag being waved at him already, so that's you know, something he's going to need to contend with. He'll obviously have been given that information from his stewards, from his Jeff. That stewards will pass it on to Jeff. Jeff will tell Tomek, and then Tomek will hopefully calm down a little bit. And
yeah.
But you know, we've seen this man race a lot. Calm down's not in his vocabulary. I expect now that he's got a bit of clean air, we're just going to see him push even harder. And oh, Yonti's got a little back end step out there as he was trying to line up a move on Vanya, but it's pushed him a little bit further back.
Pit lane. Look at the pit lane. It's lit up now. The race leaders are in. That's Zones and Geton. They've all gone for the hard compound tyres. You've got Copy in. They've got Felix in. And we have Rainbow in. Now, Yolta, he pitted earlier and he went on to the hard compound tyres along with Top Tom and Chan. The gaps are quite substantial between them. We'll see later on how that goes. The incident between Tomic, Dennis and Yonti will be investigated after the race. So we're not going to find out if there's any penalties going to be applied throughout this Grand Prix. It will need to be applied post-race. So the finishing results for these three at least will be provisional until the stewards have reviewed the incident and decided how this is going to go down. Yolta hasn't really gained anything. I mean, he's got Copy behind him, but I feel like he was going to do that anyway. He was already on the back of him, and maybe he's gained a couple of tenths out of that, but I'll say that. He has got a 2-second gap on him now, so maybe he has gained quite a fair bit on him, actually. I'm going to take that back.
Yeah, he's got a little bit of an advantage there with the undercut. But yeah, as for the finishing positions for everyone else, I mean, I think the move itself looked very aggressive, and the outcome of it, you know, the spin, that warrants it being looked at by the stewards, but realistically, from the viewpoint that I saw, it did kind of just look like it might have been a racing incident. So these things happen in racing, and we'll just have to wait and see what they decide.
Yeah, I mean, this is the other thing, you know, the stewards will be armed with more information. I think the reason why they've decided to do, and like kind of like we said, it's very hard to determine exactly how that looked, especially from our camera angle. You know, we only saw from one person's POV, we didn't see from the others, and there was a degree where it looked like there might have been a bit of desync, as here comes Vanya down the inside of Yenab. There's a bit of a squeeze there from Yenab, but still fair. He gave him the car's width, albeit nothing more. And Yenab does defend. He stays P5.
Ooh, Higgsy spun out as he was just coming through turn 2 there, and that's him dropping right back through the pack now. Nearly ended up in the wall.
Big sad for him then. He's going to have a lot of recovering to do. I mean, he's 9 laps in on his mediums. He's still got a fair bit to go in this stint, but the tyres are going to be pretty hot. In fact, my little Raven Eye does spot that the rear left was over 100 degrees there for a moment. He's obviously bringing it back down again. Still, this is concerning though. He needs to keep himself in composed, reset his mentality, and this kind of comes to where the race engineers are actually quite important. It's actually huge for them to try and keep them under control, as Geton is going to get the move done here on Brook, it looks like. Yes, he is. He had to cut the corner a fair bit. He didn't quite get a warning there. He was still within the limits, I think. But still, this is concerning because Zones is running. He's now put another car between him and Geton, and he realizes the importance he's got here of utilizing all of this DRS that he's got available and the tow. Because look, Geton hasn't got either. He's got no tow, he's got no DRS, he's got nothing to really work with other than all of his natural skill and his ERS. All of which Zones has as well.
Yep, Zones is making the most of this. Obviously, he still needs to get through the traffic, and he hopes that he'll be able to just pick people off as they come into the pits as well. Get on here will need to just really start making a move and try and make an impression on these guys, and just catch up to this train that's just in front of him.
Lots of people actually piling out of the pits here. Danico might get himself caught up in a battle if he's not careful, and he's come out behind Rainbow along with his teammate Copy who's ahead. Now bear in mind there are still 5 people, 6, 7 people actually, who are still yet to pit in this race, so they will all fall down the order and they will fall out around about where Felix is if you are Tomic, for example. He has actually done a very good job of maintaining his pace and his consistency, but I feel like there's a potential. He needs to be careful, because if the stewards feel as though he's been a bit too aggressive, he may find himself a penalty, and if he finds that out a bit too late in this race, he's not going to have enough time to cover it off.
Yeah, and I mean, the times that Tomic's putting in on those hard tyres are actually insane, and Vanya's just going a little bit wide there.
But did you see why, though?
I did not.
He actually moved out of the way. There was team orders there for sure. Vanya dodged and dived out of the way to let Zones through, and this is actually huge for Zones, because look at the time gained that he's got now on oh no, oh, that's a big dive there from Yonti. It was a mistake made. That wasn't actually an overtake, that was just him getting caught sleeping. He saw how late he was braking. I don't know, he just maybe fell asleep at the wheel or something, but that was a very awkward contact between him and Vanya. And now Huni's through. Geton is looking for a line down the inside as well. No, this is going to be massive contact as well, straight into the side of Vanya. Surely that's a bit too deep. The McLaren drivers have got massive balls about them today, and I feel like whatever balls they've got are maybe too weighted because they're getting a little bit too desperate and a little bit too aggressive. And again, he's going in towards turn 4. He's locked up, but he's just about kept it clean. He pushes Vanya off the circuit, gives him a 3-second time penalty. I imagine the stewards will probably remove that, or at least that warning, because that was a bit too much, a bit too aggressive from Get Earned. Oh, and Vanya's losing the rear because he's getting touched from Huni, and there's contact as well. That's Yonti getting contacted. There's Vanya. He's lost the control because of the rotation. He falls down the order. He's coming back out on the field in P17. Disaster for Vanya, all in one lap, and he did nothing wrong.
Yeah, that was harsh there, and we saw Get On nearly going to the back of a few guys just into the penultimate turn as well, just getting right on the back as everyone was making mistakes in front of him, and then he ended up making a mistake himself and going a little bit too deep into turn 1, and then just continued running with that and went really deep into turn 3 as well. So it's, as you said, big balls there from the McLaren drivers.
Yeah, big balls, but big mistakes. And the stewards have been in touch about one of the McLaren drivers. The incident between Yonti and Tomek is under investigation. So that's what, 3 incidents are under investigation now for Tomek. Bit concerning if you're in his shoes. He needs to rein that in ASAP before. I mean, realistically, he's looking at potentially getting, if it all goes wrong, worst case scenario, he could get 3 penalties really. Huni and Brook, they're having a little bit of a scrap here through turn 1-2, and Brook does get the better exit, which allows him to keep the position for P7. Huni trying to get with his teammate, and Top Tom's not quite as quick as I expected him to. Now, bear in mind, pedals were broken for the previous weekend, so he couldn't actually get involved in any sort of racing, as Danica and Rainbow going together, toe-to-toe. Danica going to hold this? No, Rainbow is actually sticking it to him, but there's contact between them. That's actually going to cause Danica to go off wide. He's just about kept him in this spot. Massive lock up on the right-hand side. Now they're still wheel to wheel coming up towards turn 9. They have to keep this clean through here, otherwise they're going to lose lots of time. Yenab receives a 5-second time penalty for causing a collision between him and Tomek on lap 6. So Yenab was the cause of that issue, not Tomek.
That would be a little bit of a sigh of release there from Tomek, and he'll just continue on his way. But something to note that I find really impressive right now is Tomek is doing consistently low 1 minute 30s on these hard tyres. He's been doing that since the start of the race. He's not losing any time, and he is still basically going faster than what Zones is doing almost on brand new hard tyres, and he's still going faster than a lot of people on the medium tyres were putting on. So yeah, there's no denying that his pace is there. So once he comes in, I'm presuming he's wanting to try and stay out and try and go for softs at the end, maybe stick for the mediums on. It depends how long he thinks he can run, but his times are going to be absolutely through the roof when he gets onto the faster pair of boots.
Yeah, the concern though is kind of like you said, how far can those softs go? And the issue he's had is this stint on the hards has not been the easiest, let's be honest. He's had a lot of battles because he's had to work his way through the field because of the ballsy decision he made to try the mediums in the quali. It could have worked, but it didn't. It was a gamble, he lost out, and he has to try and sort of work with that now. That's why he's chosen the hard compound tyres. I suspect he's probably going to go hards to mediums just because the softs just melt away far too quickly, as Chan is coming down the inside here of Brook into turn 11. And yes, he's got himself ahead now. This is good. This is also, though, Yolta trying to get a move done on Brook as well. Yolta needs to be careful because that rear end looks like it's starting to get a little bit lively. Brook is starting to feel a little bit uncomfortable. Bear in mind, he's 13 laps in on these hards, and you can see now everyone else is just running rings around him. He's dropping places, but he's still got the priority on the strategy, so this could come back to him later. Felix needs to get a move done quickly.
Yep, Felix needs to really get on with it, as it looks like he should be able to get him at the end of the straight, but they'll obviously both have DRS, so we'll just see who's got the setup sorted, and it looks like Felix has just got it into the braking zone, and there he goes. That should be him, got that position, and Default now just really needs to try and focus on his laps, focus on his race, and stick to the plan.
Yeah, the plan being Let's do this right. Let's do this well. Let's get this done as quick as can be. I am concerned for Geton though. Look at the gap. 4.4 seconds. Bear in mind, they were within DRS of each other when they decided to pit. And they both pit at the exact same time. So it's not like they got caught out by somebody undercutting or anybody overcutting. It was purely traffic that caused that. Geton lost out. He played the lottery and sadly his numbers didn't come up.
Yep, and it's unfortunate, but he's still in a really good position here. He's in a podium position. He's got his teammate, obviously, and who's likely going to be coming through the field at some point towards the end of this race. So it should still be a very good day for McLaren.
Yeah, I mean, you know, points are on the table for them. There's a very likelihood chance that they're going to get big, and you know, Tomic's already been given a little bit of a booster in the fact that Yenab got himself a little penalty there. That's a mentality boost there, not a physical boost because he's past him. He's quite far up the road as well, and they are on the same sort of strategy in that they are going to be trying a one-stop at least. What that looks like, not sure. Maybe Yenab's going to go from mediums to softs. It wouldn't surprise me. That is something he has done plenty of times in the past because that's something his teammate would be doing and might try to do here as well. Yolta is closing in on Chan. In fact, he's practically in his gearbox. He's that close, but he has made a mistake there on the exit of turn 1, which has allowed Chan to run away, and potentially Felix may call team orders here. He may ask Yolta to let him through, and he'll pull Yolta forwards. But the pressure's going to be on Yolta now. What do they do as a team? Do they decide to swap places?
Yep, Yolta, like, you need to make sure that if he is going to move out of the way, he does it in a way that doesn't cost either of them time. But that was a big kind of walk up there from Felix.
Rainbow's just gone into the back of Brook there and sent Brook off the track. And yeah, fair play. Rainbow's not got any damage. But that was just too late braking. That was purely a mistake from Rainbow's perspective. There was no early braking there from Brook. You know, he did not need that. He's already 15 laps in on these hard tyres, you know. His tyres are going to be pretty worn anyway. And to have that then shunt and then lock up to go alongside of it, because obviously he's trying to catch the car, he's in trouble.
Yep, so those tyres are probably, you know, in the 50-60% range, you would reckon. So they are getting towards end of life now, but interesting to note, on the same tyre, same age of tyre, Tomic's managed to go 2 seconds a lap faster than Brook. That's an incredible difference. And Brook's deciding he's had enough. He's coming into the pits.
And Yolta's gone for a move on Chan as well. He's got the inside line in towards turn 1. He's definitely faster, but has he gone a bit too deep? Chan looks like he's a bit more composed through turn 1, and the exit seems to be about the same. Yolta won't have DRS, whereas Chan will, but the gap is a bit too much. Unless Chan goes for a suicide dive into turn 4, which is decided against, then Yolta has locked in P6, and the stewards have informed us that the incident between Rainbow and Brook, which we've just seen, will be investigated right now. So we'll see if that, if anything comes of that. Realistically, I wouldn't be surprised if we see a penalty come for Rainbow, because again, whilst it looked like it wasn't intentional, it was just careless.
Yep, and that's one of the things that we have the life stewards for, just to, you know, keep everyone in check, make sure that the no one's race is ruined from, you know, these mishaps.
Speaking of ruined races, Vania, I feel so sorry for him because he was playing the team game, he played the right strategy, everything was going according to plan until it suddenly wasn't. He had multiple incidents that all of them weren't even his fault. He just got caught up in every single one of them, and it sent him right the way down to the back of the field. You know, it's wrong place, wrong time, but it doesn't change the fact that that's still bad news bears for him. Yolta, he makes very quick work of Yenab, who's now bringing himself into the pits. Rainbow receives a 5-second time penalty for causing a collision with Brook. Yeah, as expected. So Rainbow will have to then nurse that 5-second penalty at some point in this race.
Ooh, Felix making a big dive towards the outside there. He's now got the inside there into turn 2.
Oh no!
Wheels, and Chan is now spun out. That seemed very, very opportunistic there from Felix, but yeah, that could have been a hero move, and it ended up just a little bit of contact, and that was all enough just to knock Chan off and spin him round.
Oh, this is it. Sometimes it can be massive shunts that send people off, and sometimes it can be the smallest of tickles that do that. You know, it's It's sad. I mean, it did, from my perspective, it looked like they were just intertwined. They couldn't get away from each other. And then Chan obviously trying to maintain pace, and so did Felix. They both just came together, and that resulted in one of them, and it was always going to be one of them. But sadly, Chan, the one who suffers.
Yeah, I mean, it was a very audacious attempt round the outside in turn 1, but to be honest, the contact itself there, you know, he did have the right to be there. It was just, again, just a tiny touch, you know, something that most times you wouldn't even notice. But I mean, he's just staying on board here with Chan, and his back end just looks very, very lively. The temperatures for those tyres are through the roof, so I'm not too sure if he was having issues with that before, which would obviously mean that was potentially why he spun, just because of the traction, trying to keep Brownie at bay, basically. So I would like to see that one again, and I'm sure there will be replays from, I believe Brownie will be streaming it, so we'll definitely have at least one different camera angle to see.
Yeah, and obviously the stewards are monitoring this as well. The stewards are watching all of the live streams that the drivers have got going all at the same time, so they you know, it's a tough effort, and you've got to give them credit. You know, Furball, who's the head steward, he is a fantastic guy, very well organized, very firm as well, and I love that about his stewarding style. And you know, he takes no crap when he gives none back, but he is very clear and concise. And you've seen him. Look how busy he has been, poor guy.
Yeah, and that's the thing that you need as a stewarding team. You do need that consistency, and that's what he brings to the table.
Yeah, he understands there's no being liked when you're a steward. Let's just get that clear. You know, you are going to be hated because you're going to be dishing out these penalties, and he's not bothered. He will take that on the chin and just get on with it, so fair play to him. Danico, though, one of the 2 racing points, they're actually working together. P8 and 9, they've got points currently locked in, unless a mistake happens in the remaining stages of this race. The other difference is they are on 2 different strategies. Copy on the hard tyres, 9 laps in. Danico on the medium tyres, 7 laps in. So likelihood is, unless Danico, I mean, they're both going to try and go to the end without a doubt, but Danico's tyres are the ones to watch. He might lose a tyre at some point in this Grand Prix.
So, what would you say roughly is the time lost here for a pit stop?
Oh, I'm not sure, but Rainbow's going for a move here on Copy. That's never going to happen. You're too far back to make that work. He's gone into the back of Copy. He's still scrapping. He gets sent off the circuit there, and he's actually, again, fighting with Copy once more. Rainbow's making some ambitious maneuvers, and you could see that dive coming from a way off, and he's still coming again in towards turn 4, but this time Copy actually knows he's there, because no one expects a dive from 3,000 miles away into turn 1.
Yeah, he's managed to make that stick, but obviously still got that 5-second time penalty from the stewards, so that'll definitely be putting him further back unless he can really get a move on. And that's Huni there getting a 3-second time penalty just for corner cutting a little bit. And yeah, that's not working out too well for him. But it looks like right now, when Tomic eventually does come in for his pits, he's probably going to come out in P10. Based on what I'm estimating, so he'll still be in the points, but he'll have a long fight in front of him to try and get back up 10, who's sort of the sharp end of things, and here he comes in now.
So whilst Tomic is coming in, the stewards have been in touch to inform us that the incident between Felix, or Mr. Luneberger in P6, and Chan has no further action. So they deemed that it was a racing incident. They deemed there was nothing either driver could have done. It was just, like I said, unfortunate. They got tangled up in each other and they couldn't do anything about it. I do want to ask you, actually, real quick. Soft tyres. Are they going to be good at the end of this stint? Like, yes, he's going to be going here from lap 21 to lap 29. 8 laps in total. He wants to just get himself a penalty. That's not good. But, I mean, they're not going to puncture, let's be honest. But is he going to be able to get himself anywhere near that top 5?
I think yes. If it was any other driver that had done this, I would question the state of the tyres at the end of this race. Tomic is not the type of person who makes these mistakes. If he's decided that the softs are still going to be enough for him to keep pushing towards the end of this race, then the softs are going to work to the end of this race.
Good.
And we will see exactly just how much faster. I mean, he never lost any time on those hards at all. He was consistently putting in, 130.2s, 130.3s, 130.0s sometimes. So the entirety of that stint, he was going very, very consistent. So let's just see just how much faster he can go now he's put the softest pair of boots on.
Do you have telemetry?
Yes, I do.
Well, once Tomek has got this move done on Copy, which he's trying to do now into the final corner, Copy gets pushed onto the curve. There was no physical contact. That was all a mind play, and Tomek makes that move into P9. But would you please be so kind to provide us with a penalty rundown?
Well, indeed. I'll also just point out, Tomek managed to get DRS there by about 30 centimetres. That was an incredibly calculated move. But yeah, so far we have 0 penalties for our top 3. Yalta is the first person with a 3-second time penalty, and then no penalties until we get all the way down to Yenab in P12 for 6 seconds, Dennis with 3 seconds, and then Hune with another 6 seconds, 0 for default, Vanya with 3, Yonte with 3, and 0 for the rest. Obviously, Rainbow has that 5-second penalty that was given to him by the stewards also, but no penalties from the game.
There we go. Thank you for that, sir. You are very kind. Tomek did make very quick work on Rainbow, and he's already broken the 1-second margin between him and Rainbow. And on this lap, he's already brought himself into a position where he's nearing in towards the DRS of Danico. This is... I mean, I didn't think he was going to make it, I'll be honest. I didn't think he was going to have any shadow of a chance at getting towards the top 5. But the pace he's chucking in right now looks like he might even get himself onto a podium.
He's got a chance. He definitely has. I mean...
Can he get the win?
Very difficult. I doubt he'll get the win. Zones looks like he's just that too far in front. He's got 6 seconds on get on now. He's putting in an absolutely incredible lap. Incredible race. But... P3, P2 potentially for Tomek after what's been a very difficult race and a very difficult qualifying session. That'd be great. And oh, there's Danny going for a move on some idiot.
Yeah, Danny Co's managed to get himself ahead, and also there was a swap of places between Copy and Rainbow. Copy's now back ahead of Rainbow. Also to note, the Renault drivers have swapped places. Now that was on the home straight with DRS. Minimal overtake being used, so obviously team orders definitely came into play there to an extent. But I think this is a calculated move, knowing that Tomek is coming. They have to really calculate that and sort of work out. And there's no point now where Luneburger can say, okay, fine, I'll just stay with you and we'll just do what we got to do. This is now where I have to go. You need to block him. Let me know what happens. However, Rainbow has been asked to hand back the position to Copy after the incident they had earlier. So that has been done. Copy has gained that position back. I love the live stewarding. That is awesome. Like, that would never happen without the live stewards, and we've had that just happen. Tomek going for a move here on Danico. This is big for him. He's got that move done and dusted. I think he's almost in range of DRS on Yalta. 1.4, that is going to be dropping soon enough. 1.5 right now. Coming in towards turn 1, I expect to see that time start to plummet. Now, can Luneburger actually hold a gap between him and Tomek? Realistically, 14 lap hole hards versus brand spanking new softs and a driver who's nuts. No.
Yeah, I'm going to say right now we can't do it. I'm going to also say right now Top Tom has lost his podium. Tomek is currently throwing in times that are 2 seconds a lap faster than what Top Tom is doing right now. He's got, 5 laps to gain 6 seconds at 2 seconds a lap faster. Easy.
Easy peasy, lemon squeeze. There are still quite a fair few battles that are actually happening. Copy and Rainbow, despite the fact that Rainbow gave the position back to Copy, he's still keeping with him to do the attack once more. There is a train from Felix all the way back. Oh, there's a yellow flag. Who is that? That is a Ferrari. That is Hune. He's made a mistake on the turn 4. Tomek has gone for a move here on the inside of Yalta. He's just about made that work. He's up to P5 now. He's compromised a little bit, but he's still within DRS of Felix, and he needs this because he knows there's a 5-second gap between him and Top Tom. And look at the laps that we have right now. 24 out of 29. That means, if you can do quick maths, Tomek needs to be a second a lap faster at least between him and Top Tom if he wants to secure a P3. He needs to do more than that if he wants to actually pass him.
Yep, and I don't think Top Tom really has an answer right now. He's still putting in Like, if his last lap there was a 1:30.0, so Tomic is going to catch him very, very swiftly.
Although, having looked at this, Top Tom is actually ready to attack Get Owned. There's a point now where Top Tom could actually make a move on Get Owned and potentially... I mean, obviously, Get Owned is going to be trying to hold him back as much as he can because the only driver behind Top Tom now is Tomic, the driver who's trying to do the impossible.
I am going to say that this is not Top Tom catching up with Get Owned. This is Get Owned holding up Top Tom.
But surely Top Tom can just go. Like, at any point, you could just say, okay, see ya.
Yeah, he's not got much ERS to play with, honestly. But the thing to note is that all through last season and even the pre-season here, Get Owned and Tomic have been saying about how great their teamwork is. Get Owned knows Tomic's coming. This is just making it so that Tomic can get a podium. There is no doubt in my mind that Get Owned is deliberately just kind of taking it easy and setting Top Tom back into the path of Tomic.
Yeah, and just in the same way you were, you know, the McLaren team have their own race engineer who are going to be looking at the telemetry as well and saying, Tomic, do you realize you're doing 2 seconds a lap faster than what Top Tom is doing? And then Get-On's going to be like, okay, I will help you here. I will hold Top Tom back. And in just this lap alone, Zones has gained 6/10 as Top Tom realizes what's happening. He knows it's time to get a move on. He's got the move done in towards turn 1, I think, unless Get-On can get the cutback of dreams. And now Get-On is going to start getting aggressive. He's going to turn the overtake mode on. He's going to turn DRS on. Of course he is. He's going to try and recover the position and burn as much time as he can. He's going to fight in every corner he can get. He's going to go side by side through turn 4, but it's going to be Get-On who's going to be losing out, it looks like, for now. Top Tom's still going at it, and every single corner they go through where they're side by side, Tomic closes in even more than he normally would.
Yep, and this is he'll probably be on the back of them now going into turn 1 at the end of the start of the next lap. So he is flying.
Yeah, he really is. 1.4 now already. It was, what was it, 3.8 I think when we started this lap. We're already down to 1.4, and that's realistically a massive thank you from Tomic to Get On, because he has done a very good job of holding Top Tom back. Now, here's the concern for Get On. He has to actually still physically pass Top Tom in order to still gain the podium. So Top Tom still has a chance of securing a P3. He could realistically be net zero. He's not lost anything, he's not gained anything, but he has to do a brilliant job of passing Top Tom. The other issue is Tomic, who is now right here on the back of his teammates McLaren, he will be in a dilemma. Get-On has done him a solid by helping him hold Top Tom back. Will Tomic repay the favour in this race?
You know, I think obviously Tomic's going to know that there's no way he can get zones. He is, I mean, within 3 laps, you're not going to gain 9 seconds on someone. So from that point of view, I think he'll try what he can to help his teammate, and we'll just see what he's able to do. But he's had an absolute blinding race. Yeah,
with 2 laps to go then, or 3 if you include the remainder of this one, then the time is running out. Top Tom realizes the pressure he's under. He has to drive a flawless race from here on out. Get On is in a bit of a pickle here because he's currently holding his teammate up. Yes, granted, they are still together, but Tomic is going to need to get the move done on Get On as quick as possible. Get On might move out of the way at the last second to let Tomic through, but the gap is actually extending here for Get On. So maybe not yet. Maybe on the second to last straight. Or maybe here, Get On is actually going to back out. Yeah, he's decided right now, in the most awkward position on the circuit, he's decided right now is the best time to do it. But the gap is close enough. They're still going to be able to hold this down right the way to the end of this Grand Prix. And realistically, you've got to feel ganged upon if you're Top Tom. You have to be. Yeah.
You know, he's on the slowest tyre against the fastest driver on the fastest tyre. It's not a comfortable position to be in. And here's Tomic just sliding on by, and I imagine is he just going to try and hold up Top Tom and let Get On make a move? We'll see what he does. I mean, there's no real danger of Top Tom getting past Tomic again in terms of, you know, staying in front. So Tomic could really just sit there and hold him up a bit.
Yeah. I mean, the only incident I thought that Tomek and Yenab were going to be... sorry, the only incident where I thought Tomek was going to get a penalty from was the one between him and Yenab, which obviously was out of turn 3. Now, I don't think that is... well, that's already been announced. That's not getting any penalties. Yep. If I read that correctly, he's not getting any penalties. So, realistically, Tomek doesn't actually have to hold anything down. Maybe the benefit here for Tomek is to pull the 1 second margin, which he currently has between him and TopTom, so Tom can't use DRS to help defend.
Yep.
And then Get On just has to do work. But look at the lap counter. Zones, who is coming up to the final corner in just a few seconds, will be starting the final lap. So time is running out for Get Earned. TopTom knows what he has to do. He moves to the inside because he has to break the slipstream, but the gap is very small between them. This is massive now. The McLaren 2-3 is what we're looking to see, and it's all down to Get Earned and TopTom. Who can defend the best, or who can attack the best? Because TopTom goes defensive in towards turn 1. It's going to be a hard line for him to hold this one down as Get-On has cruised on past. It's realistically down to TopTom to defend coming in towards turn 1. Can he get that maneuver done? He's not. He's going to have to get the Exit of Dreams here, but he's got no ERS to work with. He's going to get DRS coming through turn 3 into turn 4, but the gap looks like it's a bit too much. Can TopTom recover this? I think it's a bit too big. Yes, it is. Get-On will hold on for now, but it is not over. We have at least one more DRS zone, but there are plenty more opportunities to overtake coming up for him. That gap is increasing though.
Yeah, I don't know if TopTom is just... the tyres have just failed him or, as it is, but he's only been on for 1 extra lap from Get On, so you wouldn't think the wears too much, but that seems like a very big gap to have gotten from just effectively one sector.
He's now currently outside the DRS range. Despite the fact that he has DRS, he currently hasn't got anything he can deploy. Obviously, the other thing he's got to think about, and we can't see this ourselves, is his fuel. And I get the impression now, he burnt so much fuel on that second to last lap to try and clear himself from Get Earned that he's now in a position where he's actually not got enough to get to the end. I think he's now recovered that, which is why he's on lean. That's what I'm guessing. Obviously, I don't have that telemetry to tell me for sure, but TopTom is now realistically in trouble as Zones, he comes across the line. He played that perfectly to secure the P1. Tomek, who tried the almost last to almost first, and he gets a P2 in the bag. Get Earned will take the third step of the podium with TopTom, who tried his best, and as much as he tried, he could not secure it. A P4 is where he finishes. Felix gets P5. Yolta crosses the line P6, but he falls to P7 due to penalties as Danica jumps him up into P6. Somebody at P8 with Rainbow P9, and Copy securing the final point here in the Bahrain Grand Prix.
And I'll also throw out that there's a glitch, and the fastest lap does not actually belong to Higgsy with a 14-second lap. The fastest lap is definitely to Tomek. So he does gain that bonus point.
Yeah, and what do points make?
Prizes!
Exactly, and so Tomek will help his way closer to the Constructors' Championship. Obviously, a McLaren 2-3 is a massive hop, skip and jump further ahead in this lead. Get On did a very good job to secure the lead very early on in the first race. Obviously, now we are second race in, just finished. Zones has done well to score massive for his team. And it's a sad time for Vanier because he was doing a really good job. Points were definitely on the table for him. He could have easily secured a nice solid points position, but he just got caught up in an incident. It wasn't his fault. Sorry, incidents, and they weren't his fault. He just fell back as a result. And is there any surprise?
Head high.
You say again?
He can hold his head high knowing that it wasn't his fault. It wasn't his issue, that it was caused them to fall outside the points. You know, he'd done everything he needed to do to help the team, so you can definitely hold his head high and feel proud about the work he did do in the first half of that race.
Yeah, 100%. You know, fair play. These guys really took it to the track today. None of them had left anything there at all, and you could tell the way they were overtaking, the way they were attacking, the way they were defending. Everybody was trying their absolute hardest to hold on to their positions. It's a shame that Alfa Romeo couldn't deliver today. They tried, but they just didn't have it. They didn't have the pace that they needed in order to secure it, as you can see here in the race rundown. So Zones with the race win here today. He secures 25 points for his team. McLaren getting a 2-3, which is huge for them. We'll hear from them all in a minute when we get the interviews underway. Get on obviously in P3 after a second to last lap overtake. TopTom just could not recover in that final lap. He had to save fuel and energy, and so he finishes P4. Felix gets the P5. It was a Renault 5.6 until Yolta's penalty was brought into it, and then that meant that Danico separated them and puts himself P6. Yolta P7, some idiot P8, with Rainbow getting P9. Copy getting the final point here in P10. And Dennis getting the Best of the Rest award. There are no points awarded for Best of the Rest, just the morale boost or something to that effect. His teammate Brooke in P12, with Chan there in P13, Yonti P14, Vanier, who had a really rough race. He started P15, he finished P15, but he deserved so much more than he got. Yenab P16, Safso P17, Huni P18, and Higgsy in 19th place. Now, we saw the fastest lap did in fact go to Tomek, so that is an additional point that he's got added to his little bank of points there. But what a fantastic Grand Prix that was. We're going to go to the interviews in just a second, so bear with us. I'm going to find the first one now. Let's get owned in here, shall we? Let's get our P3 driver into the commentary room. Mr. Get Owned, hello.
Hello.
First of all, apologies for missing you off the interviews last week. I didn't miss you off in particular. I missed the whole top 3 because I just didn't do them. But, you know, I want to just quickly touch on the Australian Grand Prix. You came into this season on fire. The last season, you seemed to be a little bit... you were struggling initially. You started to find your feet towards the end, as Badger has said. And I think you may have found a new superfan in One Horn Badger. How do you feel?
Yeah, I mean, the season started off quite well. Really happy with that. The game fits me way better than last year's game. And of course, Australia qualifying was a bit of a mess, but I mean, still managed to win, so it's good. And today in Bahrain, I mean, I knew I had like the potential for pole position and winning the race, but yeah, the pole was actually quite surprised because I never done a 0.5 in a multiplayer session, so that's good. And in the race, yeah, Zones was really fast first stint. I used all my ERS to like get right behind him, so that compromised my second stint in the early stages. And then I had to do a crucial move, otherwise I would have been stuck in traffic, and slightly my front wing got broken a bit, so I had slight yellow front wing damage, and then yeah, it was kind of game over for the win. But I mean, still P3 is not too bad, I guess. And yeah, I managed to defend against Top Tom, so yeah.
I just want to mention that actually, because it was a very late sort of overtake. I mean, obviously you were ahead for quite a while. It looked at one point like you decided you were going to try and help your teammate out a little bit by backing Top Tom up. Was that the plan? Was that what the game plan was?
Actually not. I wanted to let Tomek pass like on the main straight, but he was just way quick, and I decided to just let him pass in this section so he can get a 1 second margin over Top Tom, so he doesn't get DRS. And so I can overtake him on the penultimate lap, and yeah, it worked out.
Well, I mean, you know, a 2-3 for McLaren, like I said earlier, it's a hop, skip, and a jump further ahead in the Constructors' Championship lead. Obviously, with 2 races in, we've still got many races to go in this calendar, but are we going to be seeing another Tomek get-earned Constructors' Championship?
I think so. I mean, it's looking pretty solid right now. I think we're clearly the strongest team. Not really anyone that can challenge us. I mean, I think Zones is the one that can challenge us and split us maybe. Like in the standings, because he's really quick. So I think these like Tomek, Zones, and me will be in the top 3 at the end of the season, I think.
Okay. Well, I mean, you know, I don't want to make you feel too comfortable. You are looking really good, obviously, in the early stages of the season. It's when it comes to the mid area, that's where you and Tomek seemed to struggle the most last season. Have you got any game plan to fix that?
I mean, I will just keep on pushing. I will try to get better, obviously. Yeah, I mean, I had a motivation drop. Like every game, I have a motivation drop mid game for some reason. I don't know why. And then in the end, it picks up again because I'm hyped for the next game. Seems like. So I don't know. I will give everything to not drop into that motivation like zone. Like, yeah, I will just give my best I can. It's not about like winning the championship. I just want to do well. For me, I want to like fight the top guys, and yeah, that's just my target.
Okay, fantastic. Final question for you. Next week, I want a prediction from you. Where are you finishing?
What track is next week? Vietnam, right?
Yeah.
Good question. I guess P3 again. Not really. I mean, it's a new circuit.
Not a 1-2?
I don't know. If Zones is here, I think he's quite quick on this track. But I will just give my best and see what comes out. But I mean, yeah, I can't really say right now. I mean, I've never done a league race on this track. Tomorrow I've Orel, and I will see what comes out. So, yeah.
Well, a P3 today, regardless, is still a huge step for both you and the constructor. So well done to you, and I look forward to seeing what you can deliver next week in Vietnam.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Now let's bring your teammate, Mr. Tomek. How you doing?
Oh, good. Happy with that race, to be honest.
And now I will be tackling the elephant in the room, which was the early stages of the race. You looked a bit desperate. Would you agree?
I would agree, but I think there was just chaos everywhere, and I was just getting involved. The start, I took it quite cautious. I didn't want to make any aggressive moves, and then whenever I was making the move, I was making sure it's clean. I think the two incidents, the two little thingies I had were in major, and it's just bound to happen because at the start everyone wants to keep track position. It's super important. So yeah, I would say that was a messy start to the race, but in general, I feel like that's just how racing is, especially when yeah, you have differing strategies and everyone wants to make the most out of this worst stint at the start when you do the opposite strat.
Now, yeah, I just want to talk about that strat. Hards, softs. I mean, it worked. Let's be honest. You got a P2 out of it. You secured a very good fastest lap to go with it as well. Your pace when you were on the softs looked blistering. I think maybe a couple of laps more, or maybe if you'd have pitted a couple of laps earlier, there may have been a win on the cars.
Yeah, I agree. It goes all the way back to quali. I was on 2 laps of the softs. Both were quite decent, but since I just came home today, I wasn't really confident with my 1 lap pace. And realistically, I preferred starting a little bit down the grid and have free tire selection rather than start, let's say, P3, P4, and have to struggle on the softs. I was never. You need a bit of practice to get the feel of softs. They are very tricky tire. So that's why I went for mediums in quali, but I just underestimated how slow they were. But yeah, the strategy initially was supposed to be hard medium, but together with my Jeff Florian, we realized that if I was to pit for mediums, I was gonna rejoin in quite a lot of traffic. There was like a big train going on, and we were just stretching the tires because they were still in decent condition, and we were trying to wait for the train to kind of fade away for gaps to be made, because if I rejoined behind them on mediums, I would probably lose a lot more time than I did by staying out on the hards. And yeah, the softs at the end were brilliant. So I think at the end of the day, we made the correct strategy.
Well, I mean, look at it. It paid off, didn't it? Let's be honest. How can we ever say that it didn't work out? You know, fair play. That was a very solid drive. You guys properly nailed it today with a 2 and a 3. Like I say, you've really pushed yourself further out in that Constructors' Championship. But next week is a tough one. Next week is Vietnam. It's an unknown territory when it comes to racing leagues. You feeling confident?
I actually have done a lot of Vietnam on this game, and I'm having a RL there tomorrow as well. So it's not gonna be as new to me as to some people maybe. I like the track. It has a nice flow, and I'm definitely looking forward to driving there. I think it's gonna be a banger of a race, a very tricky last sector, which from experience from the league race I've already done can catch a lot of people off guard, especially the last corner. If you don't get the turn in right, you might end up in a wall losing from wing. So yeah, definitely gonna look out for that. But raw pace wise, I'm definitely feeling confident, and I feel like this time I will have the time to I will have the time to put the practice into quali. Okay, that was hard. And then hopefully starting on the regular strategy now, I will be at the front since the very start. That's the plan.
Well, I'm gonna ask for a prediction from you for next week.
Prediction as in top 3.
Well, I mean, the fact that you're only thinking top 3 already, I'm thinking where are you going to be at the end of that race?
Oh, because last season you were asking like 1, 2, 3. I remember.
Oh,
well,
yeah,
whatever.
yeah. We could do both if you want.
I think it's gonna be all up to whoever drives the cleanest race. I think Hanoi is in a way similar to Monaco. If you just drive clean, you will end up high up in the results. So yeah, I think top 3 should be an easy goal. Should be something that we'll be aiming for. And yeah, with zones and maybe Joe coming as well, Geraint also showing some good pace. It definitely won't come easy, the podium and possibly the win.
Well, again, congratulations on your solid P2. It was a very well-deserved run. And, well, what can I say? Let's see what you can do next week then.
Yep, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Tomek. You take care. Have a good one. And I can't find Zones, so I can't do an interview with him, sadly. He's not around. I've messaged him. He's not... I get the impression he's not wanting to do an interview. So that will conclude the interviews and this week's Grand Prix. Thank you, everybody who tuned in to watch it. It's been an absolute pleasure. Catch it on the YouTube if you want. ! YouTube in the chat. And Badger, thank you as always for commentating alongside me. You are a lad, and I love you to pieces. Thank you very much, mate. And we'll see you next week for Vietnam.